For the first Sunday in November, you found the Georgia Gang. And topping our agenda today, yes, we are just 2 days out from the race for governor of Georgia. In one congressional seat, the question is asked, where's Woodall? And downtown Atlanta, the Gulch vote comes up this coming week. Some of the stories up for grabs on the Georgia Gang.
From the Fox 5 studios, the Georgia Gang starts now.
And we're glad you'll be with us. Yes, we are just 2 days away from what is shaping up to be an historical, monumental race for governor of the state of Georgia. And starting us off this morning is the Georgia Gang and Fox 5's Lori Geary with what we can expect in the next couple of days.
Well, you know, it's quite a lineup of stars this week for both candidates. Oprah and former President Barack Obama were in town for Stacey Abrams. And later this afternoon, President Donald Trump heads to Macon. The late afternoon rally forced Kemp to bail on the final debate.
We've been through 47 counties in the last 12 days.
It's one final push for Democrat Stacey Abrams and Republican Brian Kemp, both vying to be the next governor of Georgia. Both candidates need their core base of voters to show up at the polls. The latest Fox 5 Opinion Savvy poll shows Abrams with a slight edge over Kemp, but the two are statistically tied. Brian Kemp sat down with Fox 5's Russ Spencer and defended his role as Secretary of State, fighting back against Abrams' claims of voter suppression.
Her claims are lies. They're lies. The first lawsuit they filed was the day or either 2 days after we announced that we had the most people on the voter rolls that we've ever had in our state. Over 7 million people.
On the campaign trail in Fulton County, Abrams lashed out at Republicans on health care.
The Republicans are too mean and too cheap to take the money. That's right. But if we expand Medicaid in Georgia, we will cover 500,000 Georgians.
67% of doctors said if you expand the program, they're not going to take new patients.
The latest Fox 5 Opinion Savvy poll also shows 57% of early voters have chosen Stacey Abrams, while 40% have voted for Kemp. But statistics show Republicans are more likely to show up on Election Day compared to Democrats. The poll also shows Libertarian Ted Metz hovering around 2%. He could force Kemp and Abrams into a runoff if neither one gets more than 50% of the vote on Tuesday. That means the race would not be decided until December 4th. Dick?
And Lori, it looks like a late night for all of us on Tuesday night. I suspect we're not going to know a lot until the wee hours of Wednesday. You agree?
I agree, because of voter turnout being so high. I also think that we'll be waiting on Fulton County results as well.
and heaven forbid we have a runoff, because I don't know if I can stand another commercial. I mean, really, we'd have to cancel all programming to make room for all the runoff commercials that would occur. Anyway, Donald Trump is here this afternoon, Phil. You've said he was coming. He's coming.
Well, that's right. And
he's coming to Macon. I mean,
they picked the perfect location to rally the rural vote. As we've talked about, that's what wins for the Republicans statewide, is to pump up the rural vote. They lose most of the metro Atlanta counties. Nathan Deal lost most of the metro Atlanta counties during his 2 statewide runs. So it's all turnout, as we've all said on this program before. And we had Vice President Pence, of course, come in to rally various areas of Republican strength. And so I would urge the viewers to look at a website. I have no connection with it. I don't know who's done the website, but GeorgiaVotes.com. It tracks the early voting that ended on Friday. It breaks it down by gender and race and by county. It's fascinating to see how both camps are trying to rev up their vote. Both of them have revved up as of last Friday.
Well, look, this has been an amazing week if you think about it. I mean, the networks were here en masse to cover Oprah Winfrey,
yes,
to cover Barack Obama.
Yes.
You attended the event at Morehouse College with Obama. Huge crowds, tickets well in advance, huh?
Yes, yes. You had to,
he is the rock star.
Yep, and so is Oprah, apparently, because she really got people excited as well. So it really is tremendous, and I think that Pence may have made a misstep when he talked about Hollywood celebrities and money, because this is Hollywood South. He said this is not Hollywood, this is Georgia, but this is Hollywood South, because this is where the motion picture industry is really making a name for itself and adding to the economy here in Georgia. So
I don't know, that was music to my ears what he said. I mean, we do know that, Theron, that 2/3 of Stacey Abrams' contributions come from out of state. and her largest state is California.
Yeah, but the largest reality TV show and Hollywood superstar is in the White House right now. His name is Donald Trump. Let's not forget that when you start talking about Hollywood and reality TV stars, he's at the top of the list. But no, look, Dick and Phil and Alexis, this is the bottom line.
Stop one sec. Just
okay, you always cut me off.
No. Before you got on a roll, I just want to say, I never envisioned at the end of this campaign we would see Donald Trump and Barack Obama. And Mike Pence.
Right. And Oprah.
Like Mike Pence said, he's somebody too, right?
Well, the cool vote goes to the Democrats. I mean, if you had a choice between Barack Obama and Oprah and Mike Pence and Donald Trump, I think that the majority of Georgians would probably want to go to see Oprah and Barack Obama. I mean, they're just cooler, and I think that they really are going to drive up bigger crowds than what we saw with Pence, and I even think they're going to get bigger crowds than Trump. But I think the bottom line to this is just bring it to Election Day and whoever's going to win. You know, Lori said something in her report that was true, but I also want to push back a little bit on it. Yes, historically, Republicans, white Republicans, turn out at a greater number on Election Day than Democrats. But the one thing about this race, if you look at these early voter numbers that Phil just talked about, you have a lot of African American voters, but you also have a lot of older white voters voting in Republican counties too. If Stacey Abrams is to be the next governor of Georgia, and what they have been basically working on now for almost 2 years is bringing out these sort of sporadic, low propensity, infrequent voters that you can't poll them because they don't show up. If she's able to get upwards to 30% of African American, if she can break the 25% white threshold. Jason Carter, Governor Barnes got 23% of the white vote. If Stacey Abrams is able to get over 25% of the white vote and hold on and get 30 plus of the black vote, then that's a pathway for her to win this race without a runoff. Now let's talk about Ted Metz for a second. I went back and did my research.
We have to?
Yeah, we have to.
He's a libertarian.
He's a libertarian. Yeah, everyone knows who he is now. Phil, you bashed him and everyone has known him for the debates. Ted Metz in 2014 ran for insurance commissioner. He was the top libertarian vote getter in that race. He received more libertarian votes than any other person in the race. If Ted Metz is able to get upwards to 3% in the gubernatorial race, then I think we could possibly see a runoff. And so while a lot of folks have been talking about the Democratic candidate and the Republican candidate, if Ted Metz is able to drive up some support and get what he's gotten before, and at a time where we have these new 7 million registered voters, and we're going to have a big turnout, I think that is the runoff
3 weeks
scenario.
ago, I scoffed at a runoff. I did. I was asked by someone here at the station, is there a runoff? I said, nah, not going to happen. But the vote has stayed the same. The polls are all pretty much alike. We've seen Opinion Savvy, we've seen the newspaper, we've seen a whole bunch of them, and it's a dead heat. So I think a runoff, and I was looking at the fundraising numbers. Abrams had a huge October. She raised $5.9 million. She's got $3.9 million cash on hand as we went into the weekend, and Brian Kemp has $4 million cash on hand. That's runoff money. That's obviously being stored for a runoff, don't you think, Phil?
No, I think they're going to burn out most of it by Tuesday.
Oh, you do?
Oh, yeah.
Legally, you can't spend runoff money. So for our viewers, they can't spend the runoff money. But I think that what the $4 million and the $3 million shows is that they've already bought up the airwaves, TV and radio. But now it comes down to ground game. Who can the Republican Party or the Democratic Party turn out their voters the highest? And at the end of the day, that's going to be
well. And Theron's right, and you've given some good numbers. I don't disagree. I would slightly maybe. I think Stacey Abrams probably needs about 32 or 33% of the black vote to really, if she's got a great shot at winning outright.
Well, the other number, black turnout to be.
That's correct. Black turnout,
and then 100% of the black vote.
Well, you know, yes and no. It's interesting. Even if a couple points are shaved off, you know, I've seen more blacks at Republican events over the last year than I've seen in the last 25 years. But the other number is for Brian Kemp. And he needs to get, in my opinion, about 60% of that white turnout vote. And it will be interesting to see, are these votes people who've often voted on election day but are now voting early? Is this a transferal in both parties? We don't know the answer to that.
Well, we kind of do, but we don't, because the one thing about this website that you just quoted, it does give an accurate count of people who did not vote in 2014. But what it doesn't capture, and this is something that I think Republicans are looking at, is that who voted in the presidential preference primary, in the Republican and Democratic presidential preference primary. Trump brought out a lot of new voters that we had not seen on the voter rolls for a long time, a lot of older white rural voters. voters. And so
Right.
one of the things that I think that you see in the data is that, yeah, there has been new voters coming, but then did they re-register, did they newly register? But the thing about the Abrams campaign, I think, with bringing in Oprah and Barack Obama is that you're going to see a surge of millennials, I think, going to the polls.
Younger.
You're not seeing it as of Friday.
Not right now, but
You're
they're
not
but,
seeing
but
it,
they're
which is surprising.
But they'll go on Tuesday.
We don't know. They have not been performing in the last couple cycles at all. And now I know that both parties are trying to reach them,
both
but
parties are.
it actually is incredible. And, you know, we have as a state one of the worst voter turnouts in America
we do.
at both parties.
But
That's why
I
both
think
parties struggle.
I think we'll see a difference this time, and I also think that Stacey Abrams is going to win outright. I will say that now. She's going to pull off the race just like Shirley Franklin did. She won by 50.1%. Everybody was predicting it was going to be a tight race and likely a runoff. But she won it.
Well, there's your bold prediction. We got to get out, so let's hold it on your bold prediction.
Okay.
When we come back, I want to talk a little bit about some of the issues in the race, and then I'll ask each of you to see if you want to join Alexis in the bold prediction department. So stay with us here on the Georgia Gang.
Have a question or comment for the Georgia Gang? Email them at georgiagang@foxtv.com.
We've talked about the horse race. We know the numbers. We know the magic number of the 32% African American turnout, all that sort of thing. But there are big issues in this governor's race that I think are worthy of some discussion. I did not see the Democrats coming on this issue of health care. I really didn't. I thought with the failure of Obamacare as a national issue for the Democrats, that they wouldn't do that again. But every Democratic commercial in almost every race focuses on pre-existing conditions, accusing the Republicans of wanting not to insure pre-existing conditions. And the other in the state races is Medicaid expansion, which I thought the Republicans had pretty well established was a non-starter because of its sheer cost. But those two issues are in every race.
Well, and they should be. I think those are important for everybody, and regardless of your politics. I think that pre-existing conditions, the Republicans have repeatedly said that we're in favor of that. In fact, I have to hit DuBose Porter, the chairman, the tone-deaf chairman of the Democratic Party. He has got a radio ad, basically saying, "Oh, there's only 7 words on Brian Kemp's website on healthcare." That's a lie. That actually is a lie.
Oh, that
There's
was,
a whole,
it was
But
true.
that was
well,
true,
it's 2 months ago. Yeah, it was true 2 months ago.
It wasn't a lie.
But now there's
But
it's a lie now. It's running now. So he's lying now.
Okay.
And you've got a very, well, I know you want to try to shut me up, but he's got a very detailed platform on health care for pre-existing conditions, for competition to lower the rate. So again, it's a huge myth that the Democrats are promoting.
Here's the thing that Stacey Abrams says, and I think this is resonating with voters. I know it resonated with me. She said in a rally during the week, she said that as we sit here now as Georgians, we are losing $8 million a day. Let me repeat that. $8 million a day because of Georgia's refusal to expand Medicaid. What she also has said is that we talked a lot about Mike Pence coming to town. Mike Pence did the same exact thing in Indiana, but it had a waiver component to it, right? So I think that you want to.
Kemp said he
That's
wants
not
a
the
waiver.
exact same thing.
But-
if it's a waiver, that's not the exact same thing.
Is what the Abrams she said is that what she's proposed is exactly what Pence did in Indiana. And so what, to your point, Dick, it's really put all the Republicans in sort of a very tough position because we've seen polling in Georgia where Republicans and Democrats, all Georgians, think that we should expand Medicaid. And so whoever becomes governor...
Actually, I disagree with you totally. Why should we expand Medicaid to include able-bodied adults?
Listen,
Medicaid is to take care of women and children.
You are losing $8 million
That's why
a
you should do
day.
it. Especially
Well, you're only telling half the
Part of
story.
half, yeah.
We're trying to get out.
I'm just reporting the news.
Well, we're trying to get out of Obamacare, the expensive, tyrannical system that Republicans rightly are dismantling, to
Based
go
on the
back
Republican
to
plan.
competition.
Come on.
To go back to competition to lower your insurance costs. You don't tell people
Well,
that.
if you did Medicare for all, that would solve everything.
It would bankrupt the state.
No, it wouldn't,
Right.
because you'd have to have this insurance supplement.
It would cost, even liberal economists admit it would cost billions of dollars in Georgia that we don't have.
All right, let's make like the candidates, because right now the candidates on the weekend have got these really nice soft commercials going.
Yes, and they're very...
Stacey Abrams has a beautifully shot commercial about the future and how great Atlanta and Georgia can be. Brian Kemp has a wonderful, nice, soft family commercial with his children, and that's all very good. So we should be like them here in the closing days. But I do want to talk about a couple of gaffes. I'm amazed that Stacey Abrams went on television and said she wants to ban AR-15 rifles.
Why are you amazed at that? They need to be banned. They
She
were at
also
one
thought
time.
maybe they ought to be confiscated, which is
Well, there's a lot of confusion. They're not automatic weapons. In fact, she has no idea about what hunters do and gun collectors. And she's trying to get the rural vote. That was a gaffe. I agree with you.
What does
Let's actually say what she said on The View. She said that that's why I believe in background checks. I believe in a 3-day waiting period. I believe that those who commit domestic violence and stalking should not have access to weapons. Then she said, I do not believe that weapons of mass destruction like the AR-15 belong in civilian hands.
Well,
so
that's a nice talking point.
No,
but the NRA even agrees with background checks and the toughest prosecution for those that have arms.
And she also said that she's not anti-gun. She's just anti-weapons of mass destruction like an AR-15 in civilian hands.
The AR-15 is a major hunting rifle, and I think she made a mistake there. The other gaffe was committed by Oprah Winfrey in Cobb County the other day when she said that we need to elect Stacey Abrams so that our kids won't have to wear gas masks from the pollution.
Well,
I mean, really?
What did that mean?
I mean,
that means
we have the cleanest air ever.
But the Trump administration
No, we don't.
In this state, we do.
The Trump administration is rolling back all regulations. Come on.
No.
You need
Your emails are going to be inundated with emails from the sustainability crowd
they
here in
can
Georgia.
email.
Say that we have the cleanest air.
I've heard from radical environmentalists.
They're not radical. They know what they're talking about.
Oh, they don't know what they're talking about. Cleaner air now.
I wish I had one of those gas masks. I would have worn it on the. When Oprah said that, I was just stunned. Send the kids out of the house with their gas masks. All right, we're completely off schedule on this now. We need to talk about some local issues, but we got a lot more politics to discuss as well. So stay with us while I figure this out.
Join the discussion on the Georgia Gang Facebook page and watch past episodes on the Georgia Gang YouTube channel.
In a normal week, we would probably have led with a story like the Gulch, the 40-acre downtown site that Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms is trying to see that it's developed. But I think we want to stay with the politics because we've got the election Tuesday. Let me ask you, Theron, the mayor wants a vote on Monday by the council. Is it going to happen?
Well, it looks that way. But big shout out to Councilwoman Nalin Archibong, who chairs the CDHS committee. They had a 5-hour work session last week where council members were briefed on the revised plan of the Gulch. And so you had about 5-6 presenters, but council members asked questions. They got a chance to hear a response from the people who are promoting the Gulch deal. And the public got an opportunity to sound off as well. So I think that this whole allure about it not being enough time to review the deal, there's still some questions out there, but it looks like it's definitely going to be heading for a vote on Monday.
And will it pass?
I don't know. I think that as we, continue to really see how this develops, I do think that people feel more comfortable with the process. It probably wasn't as perfectly run as they wanted it to be, but I think that this whole, even Felicia Moore, the council president, said, hey guys, let's go ahead and put this behind us because there's a lot of more important business for the city to look at right now.
One afterthought on that, the chairman of Norfolk Southern Railroad, which is based in Virginia, kind of threatened the city and said they want to move their headquarters to Midtown, but it's contingent on the Gulch deal, with the city buying their land for this project. And I thought, boy, that's kind of heavy-handed corporate.
Yeah, I don't think the council appreciated that. But going back to Council President Felicia Moore, she also said the trust was broken several months ago with a lot of this secrecy. And of course, the Gulch plan was hatched in former Mayor Kasim Reed's office, which has given pause to a lot of people. Sim, the contractor, really hasn't told the people everything. Some of the council members are saying, no, they did ask good questions. There were some answers.
But I think
there were some. You admitted it's been adjusted. I don't know, Dick, if it's going to pass as of Friday. I think there's still a lot of problems. That's a lot of money to leave taxpayers on the hook.
Well, they won't vote on it if it's going to be defeated.
Right, that's right.
The fact is it'll be deferred if she doesn't have the votes.
Right.
But let's get back to politics. We have two major congressional races that are very interesting. The 6th district, which is this, Fulton and Cobb, and we know that's the seat held by Karen Handel. She's running against Lucy McBath, and I think Handel has got the race in hand because she has pretty accurately portrayed McBath as a carpetbagger who doesn't really live in Georgia, whose homestead exemption is in Georgia, but she lives in Tennessee. And to me, the most compelling thing of all, McBath did not vote in the John Ossoff race last year. How could you not vote in that congressional election? The most expensive in the nation's history.
Well, she's also kind of a Johnny One-Note. I mean, you can be concerned about guns, we all are, but gun control is not going to fly. She has got a radical plan. People are worried about crime. I've said on this broadcast, go to the shooting ranges. You see women of all ages and races that are practicing because of the crime problem.
Now let's go to the 7th.
Well, no,
Hey,
we can't be angled. Come on, guys. You got to give Lucy McBath an opportunity to really say. So this whole thing that
she doesn't live here. Why should we give her not? She's John Ossoff.
She is on the ballot, Dick. Okay, she's on the ballot. I know you guys don't love it in 6, but she's on the ballot, so you're gonna have to live with it.
She didn't vote in the Ossoff race. She isn't qualified to run for Congress.
She has got compelling ass as well. She's pushed back on Karen Handel, to be fair, because Karen Handel was the person who presided over this when we saw it break national news when basically children were being separated from their families. She presided over that vote, so that's a very compelling act.
Which started under Obama.
And then she also talks about healthcare, and she also talks about public safety and everything else. And so I know that you guys are not used to a woman in the 6th district of her caliber to come and talk about an issue.
I believe the incumbent is a woman.
Of her caliber to talk about gun control and different things like that. But I just think it's
and
very.
And Karen Handel talks about common sense gun solutions.
But the thing is that to disqualify this woman,
live here.
She is there. She's on the ballot. She's
there.
She lives in the 6th district. Just because she didn't vote.
You can live in Hawaii and be on the ballot.
And beyond that, in addition to women learning how to shoot, there are many women who are concerned about their children's safety and want to have some common
And that's her
sense gun
issue.
laws.
Good for her. Now in the 7th district, it's weird. You've got an incumbent, Rob Woodall. Millions are being spent against him by his opponent, Carolyn Bordeaux. And as of Friday, I don't believe he was up on television. It's almost as if he's not campaigning.
I'm hearing he did finally get up on television. It was a little strange that he waited so late. I think that's a tighter race than the McBath Handel race.
I do too.
With Carolyn Bordeaux.
And I think looked at what you just said, Dick, and looked at the early vote numbers in Gwinnett. Look at the Asian and Hispanic vote being very high.
Yep.
That's the most diverse county probably in the country.
But he could lose. Woodall could lose Gwinnett and still win.
So
with the rest
my
of the
bold
district.
prediction is that I think Carolyn Bordeaux upsets Woodall in District 7.
Most diverse county in the country.
Most diverse county. She's run an excellent campaign. She's also talked about health care. She's also talked about pre-existing conditions, and she's also talked about her experience as being a policy professor at the Georgia State.
We have failed. There were so many races we needed to talk about.
If you didn't take as much time trying to talk bad about Lucy McBath, we could have got to
the rest of the statewide ticket. We got to get out. So we'll try to make it all up during the winners and losers segment. Stay with us.
Time now for the week's winners and losers.
And we'll begin winners and losers with you, Philip.
Well, thank you. I'm not going to get into politics. I think we had our say during the earlier segments, but I do have a winner with the opening of the Bobby Jones Golf Course in Atlanta, and it had a renovation over the last year, and I thought it was pretty neat that the grandson of the legendary golfer Bobby Jones, Dr. Bob Jones IV, went out there to do the first tee shot. So that was pretty neat. And I got a loser, Georgia State. Now this was pretty bad. There's some serious allegations against the university that employees were forced to alter or remove test scores to improve the image of the business school. Good grief, we can't have that. And I guess the winner is going to be, as we talked about, though, who turns out the most. And the question should be asked, are you better off now than you were 2 years ago?
Yeah, and we just, jobs are at a 50-year high right now. Jobs are at a 50-year high. Alexis, winners and losers.
Okay, I've got a list here. The Atlanta Convention and Visitors Bureau had its Hospitality Hall of Fame event, and they inducted the governor, Nathan Deal, Kathleen Bertrand, who was with the Bureau but now runs the Bronze Lens Film Festival, and Claudia Mashburn with Marriott, and I can't even read my writing. What does it say?
I don't know. Can't tell.
Brian Shanley, who's recently retired from Coca-Cola. So congratulations to them. And also Tom Hanks is a winner. He was in town this week as part of the Marcus Community Center Jewish Film Festival, Jewish Book Festival.
That is a huge event.
It's a huge event, and they've got more people coming, including our own Kenny Leon with his new book.
Yep.
And then I want to say that Stacey Abrams is going to be the winner this week. She's just going to do it. And she's going to have a strong, what is it, coattails, is that what you say?
Yeah.
Carry on down the line.
Darren, you got to talk fast.
All right, DeKalb County CEO Michael Thurman and Dunwoody Mayor Shortle came together today, last week, to basically come up with an agreement on AMR ambulance. We've talked about this agreement.
If DeKalb lives up to the agreement.
They're going to do it. So in this very hyper-partisan environment, you had a Republican mayor and a Democratic CEO of DeKalb County work together.
Mayor Dunwoody is a nonpartisan.
Well, I think he probably leans there, but it's a big win for DeKalb County. You should be happy about that, Dick,
All right, we got to get out. I can't believe we got no time. Falcons, 1 o'clock. You're on Fox 5. See you next week on the Georgia Gang. We'll have the numbers for you.
And it's been Shannon.
The opinions expressed in this broadcast are those of the panelists appearing in this program.